Hello there and welcome to the next instalment of my in-depth look at the key junctions around the perimeter of Birmingham, showing how and why these navigations evolved to be what they are today. I'm looking at Fazeley Junction at the northern end of the Birmingham-Fazeley Canal, where it joins the all-important Coventry Canal. Why is that important? Because it really was one of the key corridors to London. We'll also be discovering other interesting facts surrounding the junction's location and the people involved over the centuries that were influential to the growth of the UK canal network. The Coventry Canal was authorised by an Act of Parliament in 1768. Only 1 year later, according to research, in 1769, there was a section built from Coventry to Bedworth, and that was getting the coal from the coal mines in Bedworth back into the industrial heart of Coventry. That's sort of still quite a way off from Fazeley, so they continued building. If you recall, when I was at Fradley, I was talking about how they ran out of money. Well, Fradley's in that direction. That direction is Coventry, Atherstone. They ran out of money at Atherstone. Atherstone is still 10.5 miles from this point, and a further 11 miles or so to Fradley in that direction. So what are we going to do? We've got Birmingham, the people of Birmingham, the authorities, the business people, have been fighting to get a canal to come to link with the Coventry Canal so they can get to London. They wanted a link to London. Because you see, prior to this all happening, prior to this canal coming through to Fazeley, to get down to London from Birmingham, they were having to go out down through the Black Country. They were having to go out down through Stourbridge, down onto the Staffs Worcester Canal, down onto the Severn to Bristol, and then round the south to get into London. That was ridiculous. So this was really vital that this happened for them. So the Birmingham Fazeley has been built by John Smeaton. We've got Trenton Mersey, known as the Grand Trunk at that point, wanting to come through to here. We've got a stopping point. So what are we going to do? So again, after years of wranglings, different business meetings, you can imagine just how complex that would have been. They agreed to get the Coventry Canal Company back on its feet. They started coming through from Atherstone. Birmingham Fazeley, we knew we were already coming here. They agreed to do 5.5 miles in that direction to Whittington, and then Trenton Mersey were doing 5.5 miles from Fradley towards Whittington. Ultimately, by 1790, this whole thing started to work. So we've got Birmingham in that direction. We've got Fradley in that direction, which is obviously going up north and to the east and up to the Humber. And in that direction, we've got Atherstone, we've got Coventry. We've then ultimately got down to Braunston, Oxford, Thames, London. Voila. There are 3 key bridges within Fazeley that cross the canals. You've got what is the old A5, so this is outside the front of the 3 tons here, is the old A5, so it's Watling Street, the old Roman road. You've also got Coleshill Street, which is running from Tamworth into Coleshill. And then you've got a really attractive Roving Bridge. Roving Bridge being the bridge that was there purely for the horse, to get the horse to the other side of the canal when the towpath changed, or in this case when there was a significant junction. Now, all roads seem to lead to this toll house, whereas at Fradley all roads led to the Swan Pub. This is all roads lead to the toll house. We think it's a toll house. It looks like it should be a toll house. It was 1840 though, so it was some 50 years after the canal was built. So I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't have had a toll house there right from the start. Maybe they did. Maybe it was just a little brick shack or something, and then they decided to sort of upgrade. I don't know. But it looks like a toll house. It's called the toll house. So let's go with toll house. So here I am at the very aptly named Fazeley Mill Marina. Obviously we've got Fazeley, we've got a mill and we've got a marina. So let's just sort of ram all those little words together and make it into a title. Very big marina, lots of services here. I've stayed here for myself to get fuel and pump out a couple of times. Very friendly staff, plenty of boats down there, plenty of liveaboards. So yeah, Fazeley Mill Marina, just off the Birmingham Fazeley Canal, about a quarter of a mile from Fazeley Junction. And here we have the aqueduct, which is about a quarter of a mile out of Fazeley. Now this was under the direction of Thomas Dadford, although the complete situation of the Coventry Canal coming through to Fazeley was Thomas Sheasby. Dadford was the guy that helped with the design of this aqueduct. So this is the River Tame, currently quite high in flood, heading towards Tamworth. Tamworth over in the distance, right over there. So Tamworth obviously getting its name from Tame, Tamworth. And then just on the end of this aqueduct, we have a World War II pillar box. I suppose just in case the Nazis decided to send a destroyer up the cut. Now Fazeley as a town is very low lying. It's actually lockless for 12 miles from Glasgow Locks all the way back to Fradley, and it's lockless for 14 miles coming from Fradley all the way to Curdworth Bottom Lock. So quite a big pound of water there without locks. So Fazeley to Birmingham city centre is 15 miles and you'll need to go up 38 locks to get there. Fazeley to Coventry is 27 miles and you need to go up 13 locks to get there. So basically all routes out of Fazeley are up. Welcome to Peel's Wharf long-term moorings. There used to be a sanitary station here. There used to be a proper, there's still the old water point over there. I think there was a pump out or something like that, similar stuff. There was a CRT office here, that's gone. And to be honest, I've never actually seen a boat moored in the wharf there. There are some like steel buoys, which I don't know, they appear to be more of an obstruction than something that you sort of moor off. So I'm not really sure. Somebody out there, maybe you can fill in the gaps for me on that as to whether that actually is used at all anymore. Not sure what its history is. The crane there obviously now is going to be purely cosmetic, but maybe that's an indication of what used to be here. Who knows? So plenty of moorings in Fazeley. This whole stretch, probably 300 yards, all ringed, good towpath. Same on the Birmingham Fazeley, good section down there at the side of the mill. So plenty of places to stay when you come to Fazeley. I do like that view. That's the view from the junction, as if you were going to go down to Birmingham. That's looking down the Birmingham Fazeley Canal. And there's the mill. Also off to the left here is a wood yard behind there. That wood yard's been there quite a long time. My research, I can see only as far back as the late 40s. I'm sure something commercial would have been there for a long, long time, being such a significant junction. So the mill that we've been talking about is Tolson's Mill, and it makes up a massive part of the Fazeley landscape. It was a steam-driven mill. Now apparently the water in Fazeley below the ground, deep down, is a very pure water and was very good for the bleaching of cotton. So that main mill there has got planning permission, I believe, for 102 dwellings, and it looks like they're starting to do a lot of that work now. So that will be a lovely, modern living place to be in a great old building. Now Tolson himself, he was actually a tenant previous to having his own mill. He was a tenant of the Peels family mill. So the name of Fazeley dates back as far as 1135, where it was thought to derive from the Anglo-Saxon Ferresley. I don't know. Anyway, it's spelled like this. And that meant bull's pasture. Because of that low-lying land, because of the river valley, plenty of pasture land around here. So that seems to make sense. Obviously, Fazeley is on the A5. It's on Watling Street. Watling Street was a Roman road, so it would have been influenced. It would have had Roman influence. It would have always been a significant trading post. You know, it's that route, it's that link. And obviously, your canal builders also know that. They're going to follow those straight lines again. They're going to follow those low-lying routes. Every time you can do that, it's a cheaper way to build something. That goes for roads, it goes for canals, it goes for rail. It all makes scientific sense. On top of that, it has that proximity to Tamworth. It has a proximity to Birmingham. It has a proximity to Lichfield. So us humans, we're a strange breed, aren't we? We have all this beauty around us. We have a shocking pandemic that's attacking us from all angles, and we're trying to deal with it. But you can't help but get annoyed at human selfishness, where we look after ourselves and sod the rest. Now, I certainly see this guy around a lot, around this area, Coventry Canal, Fradley, Fazeley. Seen him a few times. Does lots of metal work. So in my experience, if you're going to Birmingham, as if you're coming from Coventry, and you want to do the left turn into Birmingham, it's actually quite tricky, this is, because of the bridge, you've got a narrowing. You've obviously, to get your front end to go over there, you need your back end to go over there. You can't get your back end across because of this, because of the narrowing. So you have to sort of drift yourself across. By the time you've got yourself far enough across to get your back end round, your front end's starting to hit the far bank. So it's quite a tricky little bend, this one. So here we have the 3 Tons pub. So it wasn't always a pub. The building itself was about 1840, but it didn't become a pub till some time after that. It was actually a saddlery. That building there was where horses were kept. Did a lot of leather work, a lot of saddle work, but because it had a quayside, a small quayside, there were a lot of barrels of beer, tons thereof, were dropped off here for 3 or 4 pubs that were actually in the main sort of village of Fazeley. It's not obviously a pub. But speaking to the landlord here, he's doing his best to make it look a lot more sort of accommodating. This room just here, which I think is the lounge, interestingly, in World War II, was used as a morgue because there wasn't enough space in the funeral directors in the village. So tragic but true. The 3 Tons, another interesting fact, only half of it was a pub back in the day. The other half was a sweet shop. And there we see the landlord of the 3 Tons doing his best, filling up his time during lockdown, making the most of it. He never gets the chance to do this sort of thing. All ready for when he can open up, hopefully in the spring. And hopefully all you guys who like watching my stuff, who travel the network, will come and partake of a jar or 2. The most famous resident of Fazeley was Sir Robert Peel, who was born in Bury in Lancashire in 1788, which is only 2 years before this canal was completed. Now the Peel family, they lived at Drayton Manor. Now the manor has long been demolished, but now what's there? We've got a theme park and a zoo. As most people who live in England know of Drayton Manor Park and Zoo. So his family moved down from Bury. They were textiles, they worked in textiles, and they set up a couple of mills in Fazeley. Now, Sir Robert Peel became the Prime Minister. He was Prime Minister for 2 terms. He was responsible for the modern British police force. His police officers, or the force, however they were called, were known as the Peelers, so Robert Peel. But they were more affectionately known as Bobbies, and even today They are affectionately known as bobbies. However, in 1850, when Sir Robert Peel was only 62 years old, he fell off his horse in London. His horse fell on top of him and he died from his injuries. Poor old Robert Peel. So here endeth today's lesson. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and everything else that you may want to do in regards to this video. And then join me again very soon as I discover the very popular and history-laden area around Hawkesbury Junction, just outside Coventry. Bye for now.